What is going on, guys? We have seen many football games end in the same old fashions. QB kneels, game-winning field goals, incomplete Hail Marys, and so on and so forth. But throughout the years, football fans have witnessed some of the most unimaginable endings that you'd only expect to see in a glitch-filled Madden video game. Sometimes reality is stranger than imagination. Just take a look at these 15 instances in which teams found the most humiliating and awful ways to lose a game. Make sure to subscribe to TPS, put on your notifications too, because we post videos all the time. New videos all the time, subscribe. Number 15, Caleb Hanie's failed spike. The Chicago Bears visited the Oakland Raiders in Week 12 of the 2011 season. Chicago was still alive in the playoff race here, but they were without starting quarterback Jay Cutler for the remainder of the season. Backup signal caller Caleb Hanie made his first career start here against Oakland, and he did a fine job in keeping Chicago in the game. The Bears were losing 25-20 in the waning seconds of the fourth quarter. Hanie spiked the ball in hopes of stopping the clock so they could attempt one final Hail Mary. However, Hanie held onto the ball for a few seconds before spiking it. He was flagged for intentional grounding, which led to a 10-second runoff, thus ending the game. Yeah, not the best attempt at clocking it. Number 14, bad snap equals Phil Dawson missed gimme. The Cleveland Browns hosted the St. Louis Rams in Week 10 of the 2011 campaign. This was an ugly contest that featured 13 total penalties, as well as 3 turnovers and only 1 touchdown. Yeah, it was far from a pretty performance from either side, so it was only fitting that this hideous game had a hideous ending. Always reliable kicker Phil Dawson lined up for a 22-yard field goal that would have put the Browns up 15-13 just before the 2-minute warning. But the Browns botched the snap, and it led to Dawson missing the field goal by a country mile. 3 words: classic Cleveland Browns. Number 13, Adam Jones and Vontaze Burfict's costly penalties. The Bengals hadn't won a playoff game since 1990, but they had home field advantage for their 2015 AFC wildcard showdown against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They just needed 1 win, and it would erase the quarter-century of misery in the jungle. Backup quarterback A.J. McCarron played well in the second half. He connected with A.J. Green on a touchdown after the 2-minute warning to put the Bengals up by 1 point. Pittsburgh was just past midfield with 22 seconds remaining, looking to get into field goal range. And in typical Bengals fashion, they pretty much handed the victory to the Steelers. First, Vontaze Burfict was flagged for hitting Antonio Brown in the head. Then, Adam Jones was flagged for getting into a confrontation with Steelers outside linebackers coach Joey Porter. That allowed Chris Boswell to boot an easy field goal through the uprights. The Steelers escaped with a win, and the Bengals' embarrassing playoff win drought continued in the most embarrassing fashion. Number 12, Marques Colston's illegal forward pass. Everybody, and I mean everybody, knows that you're only allowed 1 forward pass per play in the NFL. When teams practice the lateral, they know it's backward passes only. Plain and simple, nothing else. But somehow, this New Orleans Saints wide receiver forgot the rules of football during their 2013 NFC Divisional Round game against the Seattle Seahawks. The Saints scored the late touchdown and recovered an onside kick in their final seconds, thus setting themselves up for one last shot to tie the game. Drew Brees found Colston wide open along the sidelines, but instead of stepping out, he made the horrendous decision to stay in bounds. Then he made an even worse decision to throw a forward pass across the field. Don't worry about it, Colston. It's all good. Not really, but you know, whatever. Number 11, Jason Garrett ices his own kicker. A head coach should only try icing the opposing team's kicker. That makes sense, right? They should never, under any circumstances, ice their own kicker. That's just a terrible move that promises to backfire. But Dallas Cowboys head coach Jason Garrett is an exception to this rule. Dan Bailey booted the game-winning field goal in the Cowboys' Week 13 2011 road game against the Arizona Cardinals. However, Mr. Garrett decided to ice his own kicker. Yeah, I'm not joking. The Cowboys wound up losing in overtime. And by the way, they lost the NFC East Division to the New York Giants by 1 game. So yeah, Garrett's decision to ice his own kicker kind of wound up costing Dallas a playoff spot. Number 10, Browns commit PI on Hail Mary. You know how the Cleveland Browns find the most impressive ways to lose games? This 2009 contest against the Detroit Lions certainly stands out as one of the most humiliating losses in their history. Cleveland led Detroit 37-31 with only 8 seconds remaining. Rookie Matthew Stafford lofted a Hail Mary to the end zone, and he was hoping for the best. And in a way, he got it. The Browns somehow managed to take a pass interference penalty in the end zone, and you probably know what happened next. It's only fitting that this contest would end this way, since both the Browns and Lions are famous for finding unique ways to blow games. Number 9, Redskins botch extra point to force overtime. Alright, if the Browns haven't been the NFL's biggest laughingstock in the 21st century, that title has to go to the Washington Redskins. The team has been a mess from top to bottom bottom since Dan Snyder became the owner in 1999. None of this is news to us. 2010 was a pretty disastrous season for the Redskins, but they at least put themselves in position to win a home game here against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Donovan McNabb hit Santana Moss for a touchdown with 9 seconds left. The Redskins just needed the extra point to send the game into overtime. Well, yeah, you know. Number 8, Blair Walsh adds to Vikings misery. This one's always a hard one to watch. Maybe the Browns are the laughingstock of the NFL, but no NFL team has gone through more horrible and devastating playoff losses than the Minnesota Vikings. That really can't be denied. Gary Anderson, Brett Favre, all those Super Bowl losses in the 70s. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. But none of those losses were more shocking than their collapse in the 2015 NFC wildcard round, when always reliable kicker Blair Walsh missed a gimme 27-yard field goal against the Seahawks. Something tells us if he wasn't on the Vikings, that kick would have gone through. It was just your typical Minnesota moment. Number 7, Browns game-losing field goal block. The Cleveland Browns hosted the equally struggling Baltimore Ravens in Week 12 of the 2015 season. There was practically no hype for this Monday night football game, but it actually turned out to be much better than anyone could have expected. The game was tied 27-all with 3 seconds left, and the Browns lined up for a game-winning field goal. This being the Cleveland Browns, you just knew the kick wasn't going to go through the uprights. And this being the Cleveland Browns, you figured they would somehow find a way to lose on this play as well. And sure enough, yeah. You don't see game-winning kick sixes very often. Number 6, Tony Romo botches the snap. Tony Romo replaced Drew Bledsoe and took over as the Dallas Cowboys starter during the 2006 season. The 26-year-old Romo performed nicely and guided the Cowboys to the playoffs. Their first order of business, a 2006 NFC wildcard contest against the Seahawks. Seattle stopped Jason Witten just short of the sticks on a 3rd down play, which forced the Cowboys to attempt the go-ahead field goal with just over a minute left in regulation. They made the fateful decision of sending Romo out as the holder, since he had previously filled that role with serving as their backup QB. But unlike Romo's previous holds, this one didn't go smoothly. Seattle got away with one here. Number 5, Chargers blow a million chances from the 1. The Los Angeles Chargers have a knack for blowing games like no other team. Unlike the Browns and Redskins teams throughout the years, the Chargers have been stacked with talent, but they are always their own worst enemy, finding the most amazing ways to blow it. Take their Week 7 2019 showdown against the Tennessee Titans. After stuffing the Titans on a 4th and inches play, Phillip Rivers and company went straight to work on offense. Austin Eckler was stopped just short of the end zone for a game-winning TD, and the ball was placed at the 1. The Chargers took a penalty and moved back to the Titan 5, but a Malcolm Butler pass interference penalty gave LA another 1st and goal situation from the 1. Melvin Gordon appeared to have scored the go-ahead touchdown, but upon further review, it was determined that he was just short, and so the Chargers tried again, and that's when this happened. Yep, Gordon, who held out several weeks for a new contract, fumbled at the 1. The Titans recovered to hold on for the win. But really, the ending shocked nobody. You just knew the Chargers would find a way to blow it. I can't believe Gordon did that. That just figures. Number 4, River City Relay. All for nothing. The New Orleans Saints needed a win over the Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 16 of the 2003 season in order to keep their minimal postseason hopes alive. The Saints only had 7 seconds left, and they needed an absolute miracle to keep their season alive. Sure enough, a miracle was born. Now, kicker John Carney just had to make the extra point to send the game into overtime. By the way, kids, extra points were basically automatic in those days. Oh well, at least the River City Relay was pretty cool. Too bad they couldn't close the deal. Number 3, Dwayne Rudd removes his helmet too early. The Cleveland Browns were about to hold off the Kansas City Chiefs in their 2002 season opener. They basically just had to prevent a Hail Mary in the final seconds, and the Browns would move to 1-0 on the season. The clock expired, and the Browns appeared to have won the game. However, linebacker Dwayne Rudd was flagged for removing his helmet during the play. So the Chiefs were given another shot to hit a game-winning field goal following the 15-yard penalty, and they made good on it. Dwayne, we're so sorry, but rules are rules. Number 2, Leon Lett doesn't let it go. The Dallas Cowboys hosted the Miami Dolphins in a 1993 Thanksgiving Day game. It was a snowy day at Texas Stadium, so Miami kicker Pete Stoyanovic's 41-yard field goal attempt wasn't exactly a gimme. Dallas blocked the Dolphins' game-winning field goal attempt. They just had to avoid touching the ball and let the clock run out. Then it would be game over, right? However, in one of the most historical mess-ups in NFL history, Leon Lett came rushing in towards the ball. He slipped in the snow and touched the football. It was now a live ball, and guess what? Miami pounced on top of it. And so Stojanovic got another chance to win it for Miami, and he delivered. The silver lining: the Cowboys went on to win the Super Bowl anyway that year. So fans let Leon forget about it anyway. Get it? I really didn't want to say that, but I had to. Number 1, miracle at the Meadowlands. The Philadelphia Eagles were about to lose to the New York Giants in their Week 12 1978 showdown. touchdown. Their quarterback just had to kneel down, and it'd be game over for New York. However, the Giants made the fateful decision to call a running play instead of kneeling. Why? Nobody knows. The QB was to hand the ball over to Larry Saka, but that's when disaster ensued. And that is why you never see teams run the ball when they don't need to anymore. A QB kneel is always the way to go. Did we forget any humiliating losses that teams have endured over the years? Join me in the comment section below. Make sure to follow myself and TPS on social media. We post great content all the time. TikToks, I make them sometimes. I think they're funny. So yeah, follow me. And YouTube too, and Instagram and Twitter. Same thing for TPS. We have so much content for you guys to look at and waste your time with that it's great. But it's not even time wasted because like, it's like wasting time, but then like you're really enjoying what you're seeing. So I guess it's not time wasted. I don't know why I said that, but you know what? Go subscribe. Make sure to like this video because it really helps us out. It just takes one click right down below. Subscribe to TPS because we post videos all the time. We're trying to get to 1 million. Come on guys, you guys can do this. Let's team up and let's subscribe and get to 1 million, and then you're a part of this beautiful community that is TPS. Of course, thank you so much for watching. I'm Jason Biondo. My knee.